I want to begin by thanking my parents who have always encouraged me to follow my dreams and to pursue a career in public service. I want to thank my generous fellowship sponsor, Amgen, and specifically Howard Moon, whose investments in bringing women into public policy work on the Hill is truly making an impact on the United States Congress and in the lives of the people that we serve. I want to thank the WCPI family of former fellows who shared their experiences with us in encouraging words. I also want to thank Cindy, Cheryl, Danny, and Marshall for being there with me every step of the way. Lastly, I want to thank my office, especially Congresswoman Haley Stevens and my legislative director, Casey, for allowing me to dive right into legislative assignments and showing me what it means to be a leader on the Hill. I graduated with my bachelor's degree in women's studies in 2018 with a concentration in gender and health studies. As many of my peers went on to medical school and law school, I found myself questioning how I wanted to make an impact on the world. I decided to join Teach for America, and I soon found myself teaching a classroom of nearly 30 kindergarten students back in my hometown of Detroit, Michigan. My experience with my students and their families was life-changing, as I saw firsthand the many barriers that children and families face in our nation, including lack of access to quality education, the high cost of childcare and healthcare, and very few opportunities for good paying jobs. The 2018 midterm elections was a pivotal time for me as I watched a record number of women and people of color elected to Congress, including Congresswoman Stevens. These incoming members of Congress were fighting for issues that would impact my students and their futures, and I saw a career path open up for me that I never knew was possible. After being awarded the WCPI fellowship, I was thrilled to move to DC and to pursue a career in serving women and children. Our fellowship began just 5 days after the insurrection on our nation's capital. On what was to be my first day of work in person in February, I was told by Capitol Police that I was not yet allowed into the Capitol grounds due to security concerns. As I turned away, I was approached by a maskless member of Congress who scoffed at the large fences and at the National Guardsmen who were there to protect the Capitol. In that moment, I realized that I had no idea what I was getting myself into. And I hoped that working on the Hill would not be as volatile as what we had been watching on TV. But luckily, my chief of staff who was with me gracefully laughed it off and told me that we would get everything worked out, and we did. From the very beginning, my legislative team has worked tirelessly to advance policies to positively impact our district. My coworkers showed me what it meant to work in a bipartisan way, seeking opportunities to work across the aisle and always listening to our constituents. As a fellow, I could not have asked for a better office to work in. I was able to create a unique portfolio with issues of interest to me, including education policy, women and family issues, and environmental justice. During my fellowship, I oversaw the Women in STEM Caucus, of which Congresswoman Stevens is a co-founder of. The bipartisan caucus gave me the opportunity to work on ongoing projects with our co-chair offices, and I had the opportunity to meet with countless organizations and constituents who are all committed to increasing representation of women and people of color in the STEM fields. In my fellowship, I was able to draft bill language and work on my very own bill, recommend legislation for the Congresswoman to co-sponsor. I gained significant writing experience and attended meetings with leaders such as Speaker Pelosi and members of President Biden's cabinet. But one of the highlights of my experience was being able to see the Congresswoman and all of my coworkers together in person after over 1 year of working remotely. I watched Congresswoman Stevens and other leaders work tirelessly to make this possible by ensuring that their communities had access to vaccines. Congresswoman Stevens is no stranger to hard work. Before being elected to Congress, she served as the chief of staff on former President Obama's task force on the auto industry, where she was able to return over 200,000 jobs back to Michigan workers. The Congresswoman currently serves as the chairwoman of the Subcommittee on Research and Technology on the Science Committee, and also sits on the House Committee on Education and Labor, where she has been a champion of increasing funding for education and creating pathways for children and women in the STEM fields. Congresswoman Stevens has also recently launched the Democratic Manufacturing Working Group with Majority Whip Clyburn to continue creating jobs and drive economic recovery amid the COVID-19 pandemic. Whether through speaking on the House floor, supporting small businesses throughout her district, or speaking with the President of the United States on issues that are affecting Michigan, Congresswoman Stevens has shown me what it means to stay true to your values and to truly fight for the issues and for the people that you care about. And now, it is with great pleasure that I turn it over to Congresswoman Haley Stevens.
Hi, Women's Congressional Policy Institute. I'm Congresswoman Haley Stevens, and I wanted to recognize your fellowship class from 2021. We had an incredible fellow in our office helping out Michigan's 11th District, Jamie Thompson. Jamie is a former educator. She came into our office, helped to manage our Women in STEM Caucus work. I'm a co-chair of the Women in STEM Caucus. She took meetings. She helped prepare policy documents and keep track of different pieces of legislation that would go into the caucus. She even helped pen an op-ed that went into the Hill magazine or publication, and we're so excited that she was able to do that as well. In addition to all these exciting things that Jamie Thompson was a part of, she also helped to flag upcoming pieces of legislation for my committee work. She helped to do research to write different bills that I was a part of, and she showed up every day contributing to what moves our office forward. So we want to make sure that WCPI has the resources that you need to continue to bring in fellows to do great work and to move the needle for congressional districts like mine. Thank you so much, Jamie. We are so proud of you, and let's continue to do good things together.